The following is an EHC media production.
For honest, uncut, and often controversial coverage of all things wrestling, there's one place to get it, with some good old banter thrown in.
Join the Butcher and myself, two-time Knowledge Champion Mike Larkin, along with your host Dazzy Dangerously, every Friday for the Max Wrestling Podcast, with championship specials every 2 to 3 months.
WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, and the company with many names and more.
On Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podomatic, iTunes, and Stitcher.
We must now bid you adieu, goodbye, mwah, and good night. Bam!
Marquez coming at you with a fresh episode of Smart Mark Radio. And that's right, this is post collaboration episode 1, if you will. This will premiere on the RWT Podcast Network on YouTube first, and then at the beginning of the month, all future episodes will also be featured on our SoundCloud station, Smart Mark Radio. Sound.com/ I don't fucking know right now. All I know is we're going to be on SoundCloud very, very soon. So, just want to, remind everybody, excuse me, I do have a bit of a tickle in my throat. It's been a bit nipply here in California. We don't know why. It starts off at like 55 degrees in the morning and then bam, 85. What the hell? Anyway. So, again, this is post-collaboration, joined forces, if you will. I just want to do a regular Smart Mark Radio news. We're going to go into WWE news, talk Saudi Arabia, and that debacle. We're going to also talk a little bit of the financial side of WWE. We're talking Q3 to stock prices, live event, network numbers, and more. We're going to be talking about a former WWE employee, some work that WWE/NXT is doing with Evolve. We're going to talk some PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Smokey and the Bandito. I'm going to give you the results from that awesome show. I'm going to talk a little bit about a Mexican star making a big debut in an American promotion. I'm going to talk a little NWA, and then we're going to finish with some New Japan news. Again, I apologize if I continue to clear my throat throughout this whole thing. I do have water nearby, but I just feel that would be a bit rude. I'm just kidding. I'm going to take a drink. I apologize if that upset you. I'm joking. But if it did, seriously. So, for those of you who are following the situation, and if, I'm sure most of us who even remotely watch WWE are following the situation, and that is Crown Jewel, the next big pay-per-view that's going to be happening. I want to say it's like November the 3rd or the 4th, 2nd, 3rd, something like that. Sometime in the beginning of like early November. I want to say like the 4th, to be honest with you. They were talking about, not going to Saudi Arabia. The idea of not going to Saudi Arabia was a big idea, mainly because of political things that had gone down. Just going to touch base, there was a reporter. Unfortunately, he was killed. It looks like Saudi Arabia's prints are all over it. I'm not going to get into that whole thing. I'm just going to let you know that even though they have been told by senators and other people like that, they have said at their quarter financial report this morning, they planned to move forward with Crown Jewel taking place in Saudi Arabia as scheduled. The company's statement, thanks to Figure 4 Online, F4W, excuse me. WWE has operated in the Middle East for nearly 20 years and has developed a sizable and dedicated fan base. Considering the heinous crime committed at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, the company faced a very difficult decision as it relates to events scheduled for November 2nd in Radaha. I'm going to fuck that up. I'm just going to move on. Similar to other U.S.-based companies who plan to continue operations in Saudi Arabia, the company has decided to uphold its contractual obligations to the General State Authority and stage the event. Full year 2018 guidance is participated on the staging of the Radaha event as scheduled. I don't even know. WWE has avoided mentioning the name Saudi Arabia on television over the past 2 weeks. Crown Jewel is set to take place in King Saudi University Stadium, with Triple H Shawn Michaels, DX, taking on Kane and The Undertaker, the Brothers of Destruction. There will be an 8-man World Cup tournament, Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar for the vacant Universal title. AJ Styles will be defending his WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan. I will get into a bit of that in a minute. And, of course, the New Day will be getting a tag title rematch against Sheamus and Cesaro very quickly. I'm not too sure how they're going to do a title match with Daniel Bryan if he is refusing to go. And not only is he refusing to go, but one of the 8-man participants in this quote-unquote World Cup tournament to determine the quote-unquote best in the world, all Americans. I mean, I guess you can say Ray, but he was born in San Diego, people. Both Daniel Bryan and John Cena, I look older with hair, John Cena, have both, I want to say, said or have been talking to the higher-ups, telling them they don't want to go. They have no reason to go. They don't plan on going. They just plain and simple don't want to go. I don't blame them. I mean, why would you want to go? After this whole thing, like, my thing is I'm a little afraid that they might quite possibly get hurt. That's, like, the worst case scenario. But my whole thing is it's a very unsafe place to be right now. You guys are going against government advice. You know what I mean? I know, like, a lot of us go against government advice, but still, this is, dangerous. So that's just, I mean, I personally would have moved it. There was talks of it possibly being moved to, I want to say it was like Albany, New York. I was like, whatever, that works, but does not seem to be going that way very quickly. I didn't talk about it first. I probably should have talked about it. The biggest story that there is, and that is Roman Reigns, Joe Ananai, his leukemia, or his battle with leukemia, has decided to flare itself up. Hence why there is a vacant Universal title. The big dog has to, unfortunately, step aside. And what I will say is, yes, I am one of the guys that boos him. I like the guy. He has a lot of talent. He could be great. I just felt like you're trying to push this guy down our throats. But the thing is you don't want to let him be a different character. He has to be the remainder of the Shield. I'm not going to get into this whole thing because I can go on for an hour. But I mean, like, Roman came off as, like, the guy who was just the leftover Shield. And a lot of people just thought he was going to get pushed to the moon because he's Samoan. He's related to The Rock. And the Shield was crazy fucking over. Well, a lot of people had Roman's back, and they believed that he was the guy to lead the company for the next 7-8 years, just similar to how John Cena did from the mid-2000s to, just recently, I guess. And unfortunately, with his leukemia battle, he's not able to really compete. He does need to get healthy, so all prayers and wishes and good luck recovering. I honestly can't wait for you to come back. It's going to be great to boo you again, but truth be told, get well soon, bro. So we're going to jump into the next bit of WWE news, which is financial talk. I know, kind of boring, but it is what it is. I'm just going to read a quick little tidbit here. This is somewhat long, but I'm just going to read just a couple little, I guess, paragraphs, if you will. Despite a huge increase in profits over the last year, a series of warning signs has led to the WWE stock falling $2.43 per share, down to $74.94 after today's investment call. However, there was a feeling the larger drop was an overreaction, and the stock will start to rebound. Is starting to rebound. Excuse me. WWE took in $188.4 million in revenue in quarter 3 and ended up with $33.6 million profit. For a comparison, the first 2 quarters' profit was combined $21.8 million. Last year's third quarter had $186.4 million in revenue and $21.8 million in profits. However, there were negative signs. In that the profit increase was due to the $1.5 million benefits provision from the income taxes. So if you take that out, operating income would fall down to $31.1 million last year and only to $18 million this year. It was that figure, along with Wall Street's expected $202 million in revenue and falling short, that caused the decline. The major difference was an increase in spending, which was not offset by a much smaller increase in revenue. In addition, while TV rights fees continued to increase, live events and consumer products were significantly down, to the point where the live events are barely breaking even, with just $120,000 in live event profits from the combined months of July through September. Vince McMahon has said that he has always considered live events attendance as a barometer of how well they're doing, that he knows what is wrong, and they are adequated. They are antiquated. Yes, I got the word right. And he knows how to fix it, and they will turn it around. Long-term goal is to have the performance centers all over the world in every major market, and that they are working on major changes for the business. The WWE Network had 1,615 subscribers on September 30th, broke down as 1.186 million in the U.S. and 429,000 outside the U.S. At this time last year, the numbers were at 1.5 million, broke down to 1.1 in the U.S. and about 400,000 outside of the U.S. So, that's the financial. I'm already bored of talking about it, so let's talk about somebody fucking cool. And that somebody fucking cool is Neville. That's right. Neville has decided, I'm going to go to fucking England and kick some ass. So that's where he's headed next. He has some dates announced for, I'm trying to find it right here. Give me a second, por favor. At BLW's Last Stand. Let me go into this quickly. Pac, as he is originally known, Neville's post-WWE career continues to take shape. Big League Wrestling announced that Neville, who is now going by his old indie name Pac, will be making his United Kingdom in-ring return at their show in Westlands Entertainment venue on November the 18th. He will be facing Dean Allmark and Jack Mikulski in a three-way match. Ireland's OTT Wrestling also announced that Pac will be coming on a date where he will debut for them. It has not been announced yet, but they noted that it would not be in November. After nearly a year away from the ring, Neville had resurfaced at Dragon Gate at the beginning of the month. He joined Dragon Gate's Red Stable and continued to wrestle for them. Dragon Gate was also Neville's home promotion prior to signing with the WWE in 2012. Glad to see that he's going to start making his way around everywhere. And you know what? Speaking of guys that are everywhere, I want to say Pac has wrestled for PWG. And I'm sure when he did, it was fucking awesome. So, speaking of PWG, I have Smokey and the Bandito. I have their whole card. I'm going to give it to you really quick. Unfortunately, the show was a little bit ago, but there was 2 title matches and 1 big title change. So let's get into it. Trevor Lee defeated Darby Allin. Lee won with a double foot stomp while holding the tights. He duct taped Allen's arms behind his back. Allen did both a tope Grinriro with his hands behind his back and a barquet. Not too sure what that is. I think that's where he flips backwards, I think. Nope, I don't know what it is. Don't quote me. Puma King took on Ray Horace and Flamita, beating them in a 3-way match. Puma King pinned Horace after a powerbomb off the top rope. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Hansierro from CMLL. Sabre won with a bridging cradle. This was not a PWG original. He's just a Mexican wrestler, and the story is Zack Sabre Jr. hates working with Mexican wrestlers, but I don't think that's really true. But that's the whole gimmick that he plays up. That's why they got some random guy from CMLL. But I'm sure it was a good match. Bandito, the guy the show is named after, defeated Ray Phoenix in probably a awesome match. Crazy entertaining. Bandito picked up the win with a gut wrench into a pile driver. Timothy Thatcher defeated Brody King. King busted open Thatcher's nose with a clothesline early, and he was bleeding all over the place. Thatcher won with a Fujiwara armbar. It takes so long for me to get that out. PWG Tag Team Champions, the Rascals, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, defeated the team of Santana and Ortiz, LAX, to retain their titles. Wentz pinned Ortiz with a twisting senton. And of course, let's get to the best part. And the best part is the main event, the PWG World Championship match. Walter taking on Jeff Cobb. Cobb picking up the victory with a 3/4 Nelson pin. This was a great match. Not as many chops, not as many power moves, but we have a new PWG World Champion, and that is Jeff Monster Matanzo Cueto Cobb. Jeff Cobb is the Ring of Honor Television Champion, the PWG World Champion, and was this year's Bola winner. He is doing incredible things. I'm glad to see it. He is just awesome. Congratulations, Jeff Cobb. So very quickly, these are just 2 guys I love to watch. And unfortunately, this match has to wait until November the 8th, when none other than AAA's star himself, Rush, will make his way to the U.S. in Illinois to debut against none other than my man, the leader of the Panda Fam, the best ever, Sammy Guevara. That is going to be a killer match. This is MLW Fightland coming up November the 8th. There's also going to be, I want to say, a street fight between Filthy Tom Lawler and Sami Callihan, a match I am definitely looking forward to. So, for those of you who were able to watch the 70th anniversary NWA show, you saw Nick Aldis defeat Cody in a 2 out of 3 falls match to regain the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Now that Cody is 1 belt less, he will have a title match, and I will get to that at the end of the show. But what is great about NWA, not only did they crown a new national champion in Willie Mack, but they also are bringing back the fucking Crockett Cup. The Crockett Cup tournament returns in 2019. Road Warrior Animal made the announcement at the show. At the show, there was no specific date on the return of the tournament, other than it would be held in 2019. It will be associated with the Crockett Foundation, which provides services to military veterans and mental disorder. This is awesome. There was, I want to say, 3 prior to this in the mid to late 80s. I was told the third one was just, oy. But that's 80s wrestling. I'm still willing to go check it out. But let's finish this up on the other side of the pond, if you will. And that other side of the pond is, of course, Japan. And we're going to talk some New Japan Pro Wrestling. And unfortunately, one of the most promising up-and-comers, and he's not even an up-and-comer because he's just that good now, is Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, unfortunately, will not make his scheduled match against Taichi for the Never Openweight Championship at next weekend's event, saying he needs more time to recover from an injury. There will be no replacement match. Instead, the bout will just be canceled. Ospreay suffered an injury to his ribs back on October 14th in a match with Chris Ridgway on the RevPro / New Japan Global Wars UK event in Brixton, England. He landed wrong after a kick was taken to the hospital for evaluation after the match. And a few days after that, he was taken off the Road to Power Struggle and taken off the Power Struggle card. Power Struggle set to take place November the 3rd. That's right, folks, November the 3rd. So for those of you who are keeping up with New Japan, you know what's going on right now? What's going on right now is the Super Juniors Tag League Tournamento. And it's freaking dope. Robbie Eagles and Taiji Ishimori are the greatest team I've ever seen. I love these guys. This is awesome. I want to give you very quickly the current standings and a little bit of the tidbit that's going on. So, 2 teams with the most points will meet in the Super Juniors finals, obviously at Power Struggle on the November the 3rd. If Desperado and Kanamori, the current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag titles, don't win, the winning team will likely be in line for a title shot against it. That was real life, people. That was real life. With 6 shows left until Power Struggle, here is an updated Super Junior Tag League standings. Yo and Sho and Shingo Takagi and Ibushi tied with 6 points. Robbie Eagles, Taiji Ishimori, their team. Jushin Thunder Liger and Tiger Mask, Kushida and Chris Sabin, and El Desperado and Kanamori are all tied with 4 points. ACH and Taguchi, and of course Volador Jr. and Soberano Jr., the team from CMLL, unfortunately are tied in last place with only 2 points. Again, 6 shows left till Power Struggle. Looks like it might just be Yo and Sho against Bushi and Takagi. I would much rather see Yo and Sho versus Robbie Eagles and Taiji Ishimori. Or maybe even Jushin Thunder Liger and Tiger Mask. Or what about Chris Sabin and Kushida? Who knows? All I know is this tournament is great so far, and it plans to only get better. Speaking of things going to get better, since Power Struggle is going to be on the 3rd, and unfortunately we lost one title match, we're getting another one. My apologies. So, the new title match we're going to be getting is none other than the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship title match. Tomohiro Ishii taking on Minoru Suzuki. And what is going to be fucking awesome. So, I'm going to quickly go through the updated Power Struggle card. This is not the full card. This is just as of right now. And that is, of course, the finals of the Super Junior Tag League. It's going to be Kazuchika Okada and Trent Beretta taking on Jay White and Bad Luck Fale. Very interesting team. Looking forward to that match. Hiroshi Tanahashi and David Finlay will take on none other than the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. The match that was canceled was the Never Openweight Championship title match. It was supposed to be Taichi against Will Ospreay. It is no more. But a match that will happen and will be very good is going to be Tetsuya Naito taking on Zack Sabre Jr. I think this is going to be a match where Naito gets tested. It's going to be very technical and for a lot of people somewhat slow. I think it's going to be incredible. We get to see the return of Chris Jericho defending his IWGP Intercontinental Championship against Evil. And then, of course, the British Heavyweight Championship will likely main event the show. So, a little bit ago, I talked about Cody, and I talked about losing one title and having one left. And that one title he has left is the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. But his next opponent has been named, and the date has been set. And Ring of Honor will hold this bout. Ring of Honor have announced today that Cody will defend his IWGP United States title against none other than Trent Beretta at Global Wars Toronto on November 11th. They've been building a match against each other, which has included Beretta issuing a challenge to Cody at a New Japan Pro Wrestling Road to Power Struggle show, and Cody tweeting out a poll asking if Beretta deserves a shot. And from the looks of it, he does. Well, that's great. I'm so glad that we got everything out. I really thought I was going to go a lot longer. Apparently, I barely only went 30 minutes. So, that's all the big news out, guys. Again, all prayers and such. Prayers, good thoughts, and vibes go out to Roman Reigns. Joe Inoue, get well soon, brother. I'll boo you when you come back, but for right now, get well. I know you'll do great when you come back. So again, guys, I apologize for all this crazy noise in the background. I mean, Jiminy Christmas. But again, the collaboration is real. RWT and Smart Mark Radio working together as we should. This is just the beginning of what Smart Mark Radio is bringing you, and I'm sure it's only the tip of the iceberg from RWT, as we will bring you everything we can as soon as we can and when we can. And the great thing is, I want all of you who are listening to know I love special guest hosts. If you're interested in being a special guest host, message me. Leave a comment on the video. Let me know you want to be a Smart Mark and talk some Smart Mark Radio with your boy. I'll give you a list of topics. We'll go through it. We'll have a great time. If you're interested, leave me a comment. Send me a message. Do what you gotta do, if you will. So, that's going to be it, guys. Remember, at the beginning of the month, Smart Mark Radio on the SoundCloud stations. You will be able to catch all your favorite Smart Mark Radio episodes on the RWT YouTube page, and eventually all your favorite episodes from the RWT Podcast Network will be on the Smart Mark Radio SoundCloud station. I want to thank you guys so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to listen to me ramble. Thanks so much, guys. This has been your boy, Moses Marquez. I will catch you around the bend. Don't be a smart mark.